Welcome back to KP's Kingdom, cooking with KP, and today I'm going to show you a nice little recipe that I invented, and it is my hot dog focaccia rolls. These things are so easy to make and so much fun, and they're so nice and light. Alright, and we're just going to get on with the basic recipe. Alright, I'm using my stand mixer. You can do this by hand if you like, but 1 cup of warm water. Right, put that into a bowl, and 2 7-gram packets of dried yeast. Right, just put those in, put it in a nice warm area, and leave that for about 30 minutes until it goes all nice and frothy. Okay, really nice and simple. Don't bother stirring it, just let it sit on top, let it do its thing. Right, 2 cups of a pizza flour, like Tipo 00 pizza flour. You can buy that from your local supermarket. Teaspoon of sugar and a good pinch of salt. And I'm going to sieve this through, just through that little strainer there. If you've got a proper little sieve, go for it. It makes things a little bit easier sometimes. I don't have one of those, but just keep getting all the lumps and clumps out of that flour. We want a really nice, fine, light and fluffy mix of flour. Now, if you haven't tried making your own focaccia before, it is not that hard to do. Alright, our flour is all beautifully sifted, just like that. Alright, I've got my dough hook on. I'm going to put in my yeast and water mixture straight in, just like that. And look, scrape off any of that stuff on the side of the bowl, because that's a little bit of extra yeast. It's going to make things a little bit fluffier for us a little bit later on. Right, one more ingredient. That's going to be 2 tablespoons of olive oil of your choice. Okay, I'm not going to say use extra virgin or anything. Alright, all we have to simply do is start mixing that dough up. I'm going to let the machine do it for me, because the way my hands work with my MS, I don't know what is going to happen 1 minute to the next. So just let it go. It will come together eventually. If you use those quantities that I've given you, you'll end up with a little bit of a dough looking something like that. I'm going to give that a little bit of a knead, and there will be a couple of little bits on the bottom of this bowl. We're going to try and gather that into that pizza dough. Alright, so I'm going to put a little bit of oil in the bottom of that bowl. Just give that dough a little bit of coating with some olive oil. I'm going to cover that with some cling film, and I'm going to put a tea towel over the top, and I'm going to sit that into a nice warm place, and I'm going to leave that for around about an hour. Now I'm going to start making a couple of toppings for my pizza, or one topping in particular, and that is going to be some very finely sliced onion, which I'm going to caramelize. So I've got that on a sort of low medium heat with a little bit of butter. I'm just going to let it do its thing. I'm going to add in a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt, a good pinch of salt, and just let that wilt down, let that do its thing. It'll take you maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes, depending on how hard you want to cook these. Right, cook the onions the way you want them, but I'd like a nice caramelized onion, and I want them really nice and soft for my hot dog focaccia rolls, and that's going to look a little bit like that. As you can see, they've reduced right down. They've got that beautiful dark brown color. They're nice and sticky. Now it's time for us to get our dough out of our proofing stage. Right, I'm just going to tip that dough straight out. As you can see, that is all really nice and fluffy. Okay, make sure we've got every single bit out of the bowl, and all we're going to simply do is give that a pretty light, quick knead. Don't go too hard on it. Let it stay nice and fluffy, because it will make your rolls so much fluffier. I can't make bread to save my life, but I can make pizza and I can make focaccia, no problem. And there's no difference to it. So I'm basically just going to put a little bit of flour down to make sure it's not going to stick to my board or stick to anything else. Right, so I'm just going to spread that out into a nice big shape. I'm just going to use a kitchen cutter or kitchen scraper, and I'm just going to cut that into quarters like that. I'm going to be making 4 of these little rolls. As you can see, that dough is so light and fluffy. Okay, that's exactly what we want. It's got a nice bit of stretch to it as well. Okay, so we're just going to make sure we've got a little bit of flour on all those surfaces, so it's not going to stick. Now, another thing that I'm also going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of baking paper into a nice big oval ramekin. Now, if you don't have an oval ramekin, you could use an oven-proof oval type dish. You can even try and make these onto a tray on their own. But these little ramekins will actually make sure they'll encase our hot dog and everything else we're going to put in. So just put that down, make sure you get it up the sides just as though you're making a little pie, although this dough is going to be a lot fluffier. Right, I'm going to put down a little bit of pizza sauce in the bottom. Right, just a little bit, just like that. Not too much. We want to keep our dough nice and fluffy. We don't want it to drown in that pizza sauce. So just give that a bit of a spread around. We're just going for a little bit of flavour, and we can always add a little bit more tomato sauce at the end. Although most people will say you don't put tomato sauce onto a hot dog. I'm going to put it underneath, of course. I'll top this off with some nice American mustard a little bit later on. Alright, so spread those out just like that. Now you could use a full-size hot dog. I wasn't sure how they were going to fit into my little oval ramekins, so I'm going to use the little baby hot dogs, right? The little cocktail franks, and we can actually get a couple of those into each focaccia roll. Okay, so we're just going to put those in, and while we cook the focaccia, they're going to heat up just absolutely nicely, and they did not pop. Now my oven is already sitting at 180 degrees Celsius. That is going in on a tray for around about 30 minutes, or until they come out looking something a little bit like that. As you can see, the dough has risen up around the dogs, and it tastes amazing when we get to the end of this. A little bit of cheese over the top, just like that. Okay, as much or little as you like. Use the cheese that you like. I'm not going to tell you what cheese to use. I'm using a Mexican blend because I use that a lot. I've always got it in the refrigerator. Alright, so these are still pretty hot, so be careful of that tray, and we don't want any more burns than I've already got this week. I've popped that back in the oven for around about 5 minutes or so, and it melted that cheese down, and now it's time to get our toppings and everything organized. Now, one of the beauties of having the baking paper underneath is you pick the baking paper up, you lift it up, and out come your beautiful hot dog focaccia rolls. I'm going to top one off with a little bit of my caramelized onion and a little bit of American mustard, of course, and the next one I'm going to top off with my father's sauerkraut. If you haven't seen that recipe yet, I'll put a link in the description to show you how to make your very own sauerkraut, and it's really fun and easy to do. Alright, and Mrs. KP, well, she's going to go a little bit of slaw on top of hers. Alright, so as you can see, I'm spilling sauerkraut everywhere. I'm overloading these because we are actually having these for dinner. We're not having these for a snack. Love to see you try and make these ones at home. It's not that hard to do. It's a lot of fun, and it's actually quite therapeutic. Thank you so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. If you like this video, hit that like button. It gives me confidence. Should make you feel warm and fuzzy too. Hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Please share this video with all your friends on all platforms of social media. We are trying to get them at KP's Kingdom and Cook with KP out there. Don't forget to leave a comment. Love reading, love responding to them. In the meantime, if you want to learn how to make a real fun dish for a Saturday night's meal, well, even for a lunch, well, you need to come and join the family, my family. Hit that subscribe button, and you will never miss another one of my videos again. We're off to eat these hot dog focaccia rolls, and I will catch you next time. Bye.